mentors.
We are thrilled to announce that our upcoming event is being held offline this year. For the next 2 days, we have scheduled 2 exciting competitions, namely Pitch Perfect and Business Wars. With this, we cordially invite our esteemed director of IIM Bodh Gaya, Dr. Vinita S. Sahai, along with our honored guest and keynote speaker, Radhika Bajoria, beloved faculty members, staff, and students to be a part of this engaging experience.
Now we request our ECEL chairperson, Dr. Sri Vidya Raghavan, to welcome our director, ma'am, Dr. Vinita S. Sahai.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we request our director, Dr. S. Sahai, to felicitate our keynote speaker, Ms. Radhika Bajoria.
Thank you, ma'am. We cordially invite our director, ma'am, Dr. Vinita Sahai, Ms. Radhika Bajoria, chairperson ECEL, Dr. Sri Vidya Raghavan, member of ECEL, Dr. Atma Prakash Ojo, and a student member of ECEL to help us with the lighting of the lamp.
Thank you, ma'am. We will now hand over the stage to Gaurav for a presentation on Envision Cell and yes, the Youth Entrepreneurship Summit.
So good morning, everyone present. I am Gaurav, and I'll be quickly taking you through what the Envision Cell is all about and how the last calendar year has been for the Envision Cell. So what is Envision Cell? IIM Bodh Gaya boasts the presence of a dedicated entrepreneurship and industrial relationship cell called the Envision, which is responsible to carry out tasks ranging from creative awareness and the culture of entrepreneurship to helping the brightest mind in the campus bring their ideas to life. This is our team, the MBA 08, IPM 01, and IPM 02. From people having significant experience in the industry to the students coming right out of school, the dynamics of the team are strong. And here at Envision, we try to make every event a fun and learning experience. We would also like to extend our thanks to the senior members that came before us. So how the last year has been for Envision Cell. We've conducted over 20 plus IAC events, 5 inter and inter-college events, and initiated 3 campus startups. Envision Cell has been one of the most active committees on the campus. Envision Cell is also a member of ARIA, the Atal Ranking Institution on Innovation Achievements. It is an initiative by the Ministry of Education, Government of India, that systematically ranks all the major higher educational institutions and universities. IIM Bodh Gaya list as a brand performer in the non-technical centrally funded institution category. These are the achievements: 1 pre-incubation facility, 1 patent by the higher education institution, 3 expert talks conducted on innovation and entrepreneurship, and 3 academic courses on innovation. Further adding to the list, we have several training sessions conducted by our innovation ambassadors like the Chief Minister, SC/ST, EBC, Entrepreneurship Yojana, and we have collaborated with several other incubation centers and higher educational institutions. Moving on, IIM Bodh Gaya is also part of the institution's Innovation Council, which is an initiative by MHRD for selected higher institutions education. And these are the list of activities that we've conducted throughout the year, including the celebrity events like National Startup Day, the Business Model Canvas, and we've been calling different entrepreneurs for their success stories, sharing with the students. And these are the snippets of all the events and training sessions conducted by Envision Cell IIM Bodh Gaya, from Youth Entrepreneurship Summit last year, and the CM Udyani Yojana training, and training by BIPAD, training for BIPAD. And now the most awaited flagship event of ECEL, the Youth Entrepreneurship Summit. We'll be running 5 events throughout the weekend, 3 inter and inter-college events, and events with 32,000 plus impressions and 800 plus registrations. We look forward for everyone's active participation, and a huge round of applause for the administration, the team, and everybody who is here for the great support. Thank you, everyone. And now I would like to hand over to Ananya to move forward with the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav. It is with immense pleasure and pride that I introduce the esteemed director of IIM Bodh Gaya, Dr. Vinita S. Sahai. Dr. Sahai has been recently appointed for a consecutive 2nd term. Also, we take great pride in saying our director, Dr. S. Sahai, was quoted in the list of 15 most influential women in education 2022 by Business World. She's an eminent education, a visionary leader, and a renowned scholar with an exceptional track record in the field of management education. She carries 26 years of rich experience spanning academic research, training, and consulting, both in India and abroad. Her contribution to the field of management education in India and abroad are unparalleled, and her expertise and insights have been instrumental in shaping the future of management education. As the director of IIM Bodh Gaya, Dr. Sahai has brought about a remarkable transformation, infusing the institution with synergy, vitality, and dynamism. She has spearheaded numerous initiatives to enhance the academic and research culture at the institute, focusing on innovation, excellence, and relevance. Dr. Sahai's unwavering commitment to quality education, student-centric approach, and passion for excellence have earned her widespread recognition and respect in the academic community. Her vision for IIM Bodh Gaya is to create a world-class institution that fosters leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship, and prepares students to be change agents of tomorrow. It is an honor to have Dr. Sahai as our director, and we are privileged to work under her mentorship and guidance as we strive towards greater heights of success and achievement. With a huge round of applause, let's all welcome her.
Thank you, Ananya. So, I guess while I was waiting for this event to start, a lot of thoughts were going across in my mind. First, I went into history because in Bihar, it's so easy to get into there because the history was so glorious. And I kind of wondering that I think, and then I was Googling Wikipedia and Google all of it simultaneously doing some statistics for a continuous duration of 1700 years from year 180. India was the topmost economy, constituting about 35 to 40% of world GDP. Today, US, I think, claims about 24 to 24.5% of GDP across world's GDP. So almost for continuous 1700 years, we were there. Then, of course, something which caught my attention was a Cambridge professor who had very painstakingly created this kind of data of medicine, that India's share of world income collapsed from 22.6% in 1700 to 3.8% in 1952. And at the beginning of the 20th century, the brightest so-called jewel of British crown was the poorest nation of the world. But then that's so clearly history. It makes us feel that yes, we were violated, all that is, but that's clearly history. Look at my new India. When Radhika walked into my room and I looked up, I said, okay. Because not too long ago, guests at IIMs were definitely on the other side of 40s and 50s. So here was this young girl entering, and she must have done something great for my team to invite her. Pure stats. Again, that's 7th largest, we all know, as a nation in terms of area and all. I'm told that it's about 2.5% in terms of physical area, but 18% in terms of population. So 1 in 5 is an Indian. Imagine the domestic market. Imagine, like, I think this is the young part sitting here. If we are close to about 20% of the world's population, and the statistics just starts looking even better and better the more you look into today's data. %36% of the population younger than 20 years, 67% between 19 to 35, median age 26, life expectancy around 70. What are we talking? We're talking that the future belongs to us. These are not sheer numbers. In a population which is aging, look at the kind of incentivization to produce babies which is happening in Japan and Far East and Scandinavia and other parts of the globe. Here is my new shining India. And as I said, I was getting bored, so I was Googling. I went to money control, where I spent some of my leisure time. And news is like, okay, there was one news, US tipping into recession. But there was a counter news, Air India and Indigo making Boeing and Airbus fight. Largest orders coming from this part of the geography. Modi's push to manufacturing, getting Tier 3 airports into action. And I know sitting in Bihar, Darbhanga is hot. So what are we talking? We're talking of my new aspirational India. India which belongs to each one of us. India which we are custodian of. India, and which is why I started from Bihar. That's a beautiful, glorious history that we can take pride of, but a sunshine which is waiting for us to stake claim. There is an Nalanda, and I was telling this young lady, immerse yourself, don't go as a visitor. Just go and stand there. Whenever we feel short, we just go and stand there. We do a lot of training for teachers and principals. All that I do is I take them there. And when you stand still, when you look at those ruins, and when the guide tells you that it was on fire for almost 2.5 months, you wonder what must have been there. When you look around the establishments and the setups, where people tell you that Harvard is Harvard today, but it was much more difficult to get in at that time in those institutions. And that's the reason there was a whole settlement around it just for the left outs. That gives you a resolve. And I keep saying that's very, very important for us to take pride in who we are and what we were. But let's not rest there. We should talk about it with a lot of pride, so that this conviction that yes, we were there, and we are ready to recapture again, becomes even more, I would say that resolve becomes even more concrete. Now coming back to fast track it to today's event, yes, 2023. I think the flagship event of one of the most important activity at IIM Bodh Gaya. Like when she asked me that why, as a school who's self so young, we are actually devoting a lot of our time and energy initiative into this because the future belongs. I can go on and on with the statistics that yes, we are the youngest nation, we are the youthful nation in a population which is aging. We're third largest in terms of number of startups. I think 80,000 is a number as per Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Well, you've already talked of 100 unicorns already. We've already talked of that we are ranked third after US and China. So all these statistics are just a reflection of the promise and hope which is there in my country. I think 16, 17 is the time when I was really trying to study US and what was good there. Clearly, what was very different from the way Indian business schools were established was that whole spaces that were dedicated to incubation centers, innovation and all that. So even as a normal observer, you could see that this is the differentiator. We all know that US hasn't become what it has become for any other reason, but for the fact that that is a country where the entrepreneurial system or the ecosystem is the brightest, has been the brightest for long. So Indian Business School, it's to really prepare the youth of the nation for the tomorrow. How can we not do that, all that which is required? So, and mind you, I'm so glad that it's reflecting. I don't want to talk about it. There are already some discussions about ARIA, AIC, Atal Incubation and all that. We're definitely a partner to each initiative. I think those who are working in ECEL already know that. I think we were one of the 2 schools which were into ARIA performance band. And we know that we would be the leader there. And imagine, isn't it sounding very boastful? No. This is the conviction you all are giving to me because all that energy which is going into these kind of initiatives. So whether these are 3 startups, I was looking through the names. I'm not liking one name, but we can have a discussion around it. So Can 3 on Wheels, Drink Exchange, and some podcast, I don't even know the name. There are 3 initiatives which they're starting. And imagine who is starting it? The youngest lot. The IPM one. So this is the reflection of my young India, and which is why I say that where is the conviction coming from? This conviction is coming from this energy. And believe me, if we are youngest, 26 median age, imagine in a population of 1.4 billion, do we really need to look outside? No. While spending time on money control, there was a news, financial products developed for single women. You name any life cycle, any consumer segment, there in numbers which are unprecedented. There is a market, there's enough scope within. Of course, if we go abroad, that's always a plus. But within the country, 1.4 billion and raring to go. Look at Bihar, most highly densely populated part of the country. You can see it on the roads. Actually, you go from here to Patna, you recognize that. The promise which is there in this land, waiting and wanting to be served. And why just Bihar? Across India. So imagine we are sitting on possibilities. Problems are nothing but possibilities. Imagine if we are a nation of 200 billion problems, we are a nation of 200 billion possibilities. And who's going to suffice and who's going to fill these possibilities? You people. I'm so happy, so glad that baby steps we are taking. And look at our audacities. We already have one Section 8 SPV. We're already working on second. You may say कि पहले का कुछ नहीं हुआ, क्यों नहीं हुआ कुछ? और इरादे, सबसे बड़ी बात तो इरादे. इरादे कितने बुलंद हैं? इरादे कितने बुलंद हैं? वो दिवस्मता चाहे वो 3D प्रिंटिंग, IoT labs, या ओझा अपना ready with entrepreneurship syllabus, or Shri with her 2 Section 8 companies. Sky's the limit. And the best part is, this is the best time to be in this space. You know, it takes some risk. Okay, fair enough. The country is backing your risk. The country is supporting. Support is huge, believe me. We tried so hard to get grants which were of international origin, which were whatever. Sorry, government is hell-bent to promote India. Of course, we'll suffer on that count. We'll get some brand which we are not ready for. But look at the larger picture. What government is forcing is make in India. What government is forcing is, well, let's promote these babies. They possibly cannot fight with the giants, but can we create some ecosystem to help them grow? So let's enjoy this journey, and mind you, ESEL, please take it on yourself. We are making a commitment which is unprecedented for a young campus, believe me. I'm not saying it like that only. For a school which is 6 to 7 year old only, talking of Section 8 company, institutionalizing it, committing 10,000 precious square feet area to that, committing faculty resources to that, committing board time to that. Amount of time I haggle with the Kotoks of the world who are part of our board कि नहीं करना है. वो like कुछ ज़्यादा तेज नहीं भाग रहे हो. I said नहीं भागना है. ये किसके बूते पे भाग रहे हैं? आपके बूते पे, देश के बूते पे. तो कुछ conversations we have to convert, we have to change. I know IIMs have always been a ground where many a times we were talking of placement figures. We're not denying that. We're not even saying that we'll not make enough efforts on that. But we'll also make enough efforts on that aspect where we know that not just an individual, but the country would grow. Country would grow on fast track. And as something which I've always been saying, that we have to have this leap of faith. This is leap of faith. Go grab it. We were not having enough conviction till now. We were scared. क्या हुआ अगर नहीं चला तो, क्या हो गया तो फेल हो जाएंगे. अभी देश में banks, institutions, government, population सब बोल रही है गिरो भी तो हम हैं ना. तुम बढ़ो तो. ये 25, 26 साल के बच्चे जब आप लोगों के हीरो बन जाते हैं, तो ये आपको फेथ देते हैं कि ठीक है, if she can do it, so can I. And sky is the limit. All stats, I was not sharing to impress. All these stats were just for us to have a deeper conviction that yes, my country is ready for it. We are ready for it. Let's go and have this leap of faith with on shoulders of youngsters like you, the youth brigade of my country. And we are here to back you up with our gray hair. Thank you so much and enjoy this event.
Thank you, ma'am, for inspiring us and enlightening us time and again. Talking about how governments help create and inspire businesses, we would like to introduce you to our executive partner, Startup Bihar. Mr. Sandeep Poundrick, Startup Bihar, is a result of Mr. Poundrick's timeless efforts. He's also Distinguished Officer of the Indian Administrative Services with an exemplary track record serving the nation with utmost dedication and integrity. Mr. Poundrick has also served as the Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Power. His expertise in the field of energy has earned him several accolades, including the prestigious Energy Leader Award in 2016.
He is also a visionary, entrepreneur, and a driving force behind Startup Bihar. He recognized that with the right resource and support, the businesses could thrive and help drive economic growth in the state. Mr. Pondrick then set out to create an ecosystem that would support these entrepreneurs, providing them with the tools and resources they need to succeed. We feel delighted to collaborate with Startup Bihar. Since he was unable to be here to grace this occasion, he has been kind enough to send us a short recording. Let's all watch it.
I am happy to note that Indian Institute of Management, Bodh Gaya, is organizing the Youth Entrepreneurship Summit in Bodh Gaya on 4th and 5th of March. I would like to inform that Government of Bihar has started to build a whole ecosystem around startups. There are many Government of Bihar and Government of India schemes, and the youth of the state can take advantage of them. The startup policy of the year 22 is a very flexible and innovative policy where the government gives seed funding up to rupees 10 lakhs as well as matching grant up to rupees 50 lakhs to new startups who come up with a brilliant idea or who come up with a business idea and they want to start their own startups. There are also other schemes including Prime Minister Employment Guarantee Program or Prime Minister Formalization of Micro Enterprises in food processing sector, and the youth can take advantage of these schemes to expand their businesses or industries. I am sure that the youth taking part in this entrepreneurship summit will think about starting their own enterprises rather than only looking for jobs, and they will become job providers rather than job seekers. I think that a few unicorns will come from the state and out of IIM Bodh Gaya. I once again give my best wishes for this event as well as all the students of IIM Bodh Gaya. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sending us this wide words of encouragement. Now, it is my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished guest speaker, Ms. Radhika Bajoria, to the Youth Entrepreneurship Summit. Ms. Radhika Bajoria is a name that stands out in the world of business and entrepreneurship. She's a young and dynamic thought leader who has made a mark in the industry with her innovative ideas and exceptional leadership skills. As one of the youngest LinkedIn top 20 voices in the country, she has garnered a large following with her insightful posts on business trends and ideas that are being adopted across the globe. Her posts on LinkedIn have been featured in prominent publications such as the Economic Times, Money Control, and Mint, which is a testament to her influence in the industry. Radhika has also been recognized as one of the top 25 most influential women leaders of Mumbai in 2021 by the World Women Leadership Congress and has been invited to speak at various public forums and prestigious institutions like IIM Calcutta. Radhika is an inspiration to many young entrepreneurs. Having started her journey at a young age and achieving remarkable success, her passion for entrepreneurship is reflected in her ideology. Inspired by Richard Branson of "Screw it, let's do it," she strongly believes that writing is just not a skill or a paycheck, but about finding fulfillment. Today, we are privileged to have Radhika share her insights and experiences with us at the Youth Entrepreneurship Summit. Let us welcome her with a round of applause and take advantage of this opportunity to learn from a young and dynamic leader.
Well, thanks for that introduction. I mean, I thought that I wouldn't have written it so well if it would have been for me. But, when I heard the name Envision, I just wanted to tell you guys that I never envisioned to be here, never envisioned to start writing on LinkedIn. And it all happened naturally for me. And I think life should also be taken it that way. Sometimes we get so bogged down by pressures of the society, of our family, of friends, that okay, we also have to be in a rat race and get this degree by this age, get a crore salary by this age, and retire by x age. But I never thought of that, and I just kept doing what I loved doing. So let me just share a quick story of how I started and why am I here today. So I was never a writer in my life. I never wrote as a child stories or poems. Okay. But at the age of 18, something struck me. My friend was traveling to an entrepreneurship cell of another college itself. And I must thank e-cell of my college for letting me come on LinkedIn, because it all started from there. So in 2018, when I was in the second year of my college, the e-cell told me to make a LinkedIn profile because I was heading the marketing department there. And as you know, through LinkedIn, you reach out to sponsors, to speakers, right? There's no other way to get in touch with the industry guys. So I did that. And you wouldn't believe, but my profile in the LinkedIn was also something that people on Instagram or on WhatsApp would put. That's how unaware I was about LinkedIn as a platform. And my friends kept on telling me that, why don't you write on LinkedIn? What's stopping you? And I was like, whenever I feel the conviction to do it, I'll go ahead and do it. And it took me at least 6 months to believe in the power of content community on LinkedIn and then get started. And that's also, when I look back in hindsight, it's also given me good pace and gratitude in life for whatever I've gotten, because it's taken me 5 years of continuous writing to reach wherever I have today. So when I started writing, I remember my first post had just gotten 3 likes, and it was on some philosophical content, random. And there's a saying that when you don't know anything, neither marketing, finance, or operations, all you give is gyan, which is in philosophy. So I did that too. And of course, as any human would feel, I was very disappointed. Why am I not getting likes to this post? I spent hours of writing on it. And then I realized, my friend also told me, that it's not about the traction, but it's the consistency and the power of compounding that you build for longer term that gives you results. And that was a saying that just stuck to my mind. And I never care about traction. Like today also, after having reached almost about 2 lakh followers, I get less than 100 likes on some posts, and I'm like, just fine. Because for me, I write because it gives me satisfaction and inner feeling that, okay, I have researched on this topic and now I know about something that I'm giving it to the world. So that satisfaction which I get in writing is not what I get in terms of seeing the number of likes or comments, which in today's world, unfortunately, that's what people care about the most. But yeah, that's how I started. And I remember then my library used to be full of people who were studying CA and CFA. Everybody was chasing their degrees, chasing their goals. And I was actually mocked by my friends. They would tell me that, तुम्हारे पास इतना time है क्या, that you're part of every committee and you don't have seriousness in your degree, or what will you do of your life? People kept on telling me that. Even my family would tell me that, are you not serious about your career? How will you get degree? Till date, they tell me that, why don't you go for an MBA? But I'm like, no, I believe in my power and my power of building business, building something of myself, and I will do it. So I just feel that you guys also need to just believe in yourself, not go in the rat race, because whenever that happens, you're never satisfied. You just feel like it's life, you don't enjoy life, and life is meant to be enjoyed. I know it's very philosophical again, but you realize it only in the hindsight, and you guys will realize it when you graduate from here, because right now you're stuck in a system and you won't realize it. But I was sitting in the library, coming back to where I was saying, And people used to just tell me that don't waste your time on LinkedIn, it will not give you anything. But I'm like, okay, I'm just doing it for myself, let's give it a shot and see what happens. Worst, what will happen, and you guys are so young, and sometimes being young is your biggest trump card. Age works in your favor only when you're in your mid 20s and 20s. After that, everybody is like, what are you doing with your life? And sometimes you really need to have that answer. So I thankfully I was young, so I could just tell whatever I wanted to my parents, the society. And I just started writing. I was interning at one place called inside IIM.com. You should also check it out. It's very helpful for you guys when it comes to placements and study material. So I was the like the first one to come to the office and the last one to leave. It's like the secret sauce, what we call on Wall Street, to be successful. But it's a very toxic environment, and not to stick to that. But I was doing that, and not like I was doing work for them for the full hours, but I was actually researching on my LinkedIn posts the entire day. So in the morning, I would come, I would read newspapers, both Economic Times, Money Control, as ma'am said, even Business Standard, and I would just see what topics are interesting. And by the end of the day, I would reflect back on what I've read and make posts, because sometimes when you're too close to the mirror, you can't see the entire situation, and you would end up taking the wrong decisions for yourself. So I never wrote a post whenever I was researching. I thought over it, and in the evening I made the post. Until date, that's my schedule. So I did that, and I kept doing it every day. It takes me at least 5-6 hours of research apart from the office work, but I still do it. And people feel that I'm crazy. Why am I doing this? Why am I into this madness? Because it's not as rewarding as Instagram is, right, to Instagram influencers. But I'm very clear of my purpose, that LinkedIn for me is not for money, and it's for my own growth. And whatever has happened today also, I'm standing here, it's because of LinkedIn. Sujit reached out to me on LinkedIn for this session, and he saw what I write on, whatever I've achieved so far. So I think you guys also should write on LinkedIn. He told me that everybody of y'all are on LinkedIn, because again, it's a mandatory thing to profile. But please start writing. You never know what doors it can open up for you. I'll just give you one more example. When I graduated out of college, it was in 2020, back in pandemic. It was very difficult to find a job, and I was very clear in my mind that whatever I have to do, it has to be something of my own. But sometimes, to sustain yourself, you get into that system of jobs, just to keep your lifestyle and keep yourself having the food and shelter. वो सब होने के लिए करना पड़ता है. So I actually left my first job in the first month itself, because I was like, I can't be in this system. I am meant to do something of my own. And I gracefully left the job, not disgracefully. It's very important to note that. But after that, I received a message from a partner at a law firm. He told me that, Radhika, I'm setting up a new law firm. I've seen your content on LinkedIn. It's been trending for a while. Why don't you come join us in the media strategy and content arm for us? I'm like, I've never done law in my life. Neither did I think of being in a law firm. How will I, even be a part of this? What will I do? He's like, just trust me. I have something in the mind for you. I have a vision that you can follow. Then it's up to you whether to come and join us or no. And it was relatively a very new law firm. The salary was as low as you can expect it to be. And I was like, okay, fine. It's a new thing in my life. Let's give it a shot. And again, as Vinita ma'am was saying about taking that leap of faith and just going ahead and doing it, I did that. I became a part of the law firm, and being a non-lawyer, I hired most of the star performers in the law firm, and today they're like literally thanking me that had you not been there, we don't know how would we find such great talent in our law firm. And I would actually research before taking the interviews, looking at their CV. For example, if they have worked on something related to insolvency, I would literally research on Google what insolvency is, what is the new amendment in the law about it, and ask them the questions. And trust me, nobody believed that I was non-lawyer sitting on the other side. It was like a lawyer interviewing another lawyer. So I just want to tell you guys that never think that you are less or you require something to get bigger. If you have self-faith, self-belief, you can just achieve any heights. And sometimes we are told that, unless you have this, you can't achieve that. But it's just something that people tell it. Just listen it and leave it. Don't carry it in your head and be bogged down with that pressure. And it's been about 2 years that I was the part of the law firm. And the good part is that in my new entity, Radically Yours, they have invested. And I sit out of their office since we're currently at the growth stage, and we will look for external capital also to grow. But here's the story of how I started Radically Yours and how the law firm ended up investing in the company. So I was just doing the HR and content at the law firm. But since I already had some network on LinkedIn, and founders and investors both would approach me for the deals. My partner at the law firm had gotten a founder in the gaming company who was looking for investors in Silicon Valley, not in India. And he just told me that just look at this mandate and see if you can help him as a friend. And I actually ended up connecting him with lots of Silicon Valley funds, more than his investment banker also could. So he literally thanks me today, and he tells me that, how did you do this? You're so young, how can you get connected to a 50-year-old or 60-year-old investor sitting out of Silicon Valley in the USA? I'm like, it's just the power of network and how you approach. Age or experience of course matters, but it doesn't matter in a way that you can't achieve what you want to. If you have a clear purpose in mind, you can get whatever you want to. And that's how I got investors for him. And after this, there were a series of founders whom we helped raise money. And that's how we thought that, not just we should step apart from making it an individual effort and making it an institution. So that's how Radically Yours came into a place. And today we are actually supporting more and more women entrepreneurs, given that the challenges they face. I actually run a series called Vibe, Women in Private Equity and Enterprise, because that's the area where there is the least representation. And one of my speakers the other day, she's a unicorn founder, Naya Sagi of the Good Glam Group. She was telling me that a male just walked in and said that, how will you invite women founders into this conference? Are there even enough women? And that literally triggered her to publish the photos in the first page of Mint newspaper of 100 women founders in India. And he is like, okay, I didn't even know that so many women existed. And that's what we are trying to change the mindset. On our show, we interview lots of women founders and investors just to show that, okay, there are so many of them doing such great work, but are not in the limelight. And here's where they are. As women, sometimes we have this imposter syndrome that, we might not be good enough, or what if we are perceived as being stupid if we ask a question. All that stays into our mind. And the investors themselves have told me that women find it difficult to network, to raise capital, because their network anyways is much smaller than men. So I think I just want to change that, and we have supported lots of women entrepreneurs, will continue to do so. And I hope through Envision, I see lots of entrepreneurs here who come out, and we support them in their journey. We also help with mentorship, since the pitches need to be very well addressed. And one more important point which has come into my conversations was that women sometimes don't speak of their outrageous projections of a business. They will just speak of what the business currently is and what the next 2-3 years can look like. But men, on the other hand, they will just say that, okay, this is my 10-year vision, I want to take this to the moon. And investors will be like, okay, wow, this sounds great. And sometimes, fortunately or unfortunately, that works. So we do also help women in pitching, as to how do you pitch to investors, especially at the early stages, because anyways, at the growth stage or the late stage, you're well equipped as to how to pitch and how to talk about your business. So it's at the early stages we help women. And I'm sure that we will see a lot from India, as ma'am was also telling earlier. And it's a great time to be in India. Everybody, just recently, the CEO of Blackstone, which is the biggest private equity firm, was visiting India, and he told that India is the next bet, not US, not China, neither UK, but India. And I think wherever we stand today, it's a golden time, a golden era for us. And if we don't benefit from it now, then it'll be too late to do it earlier. So I think we all are at a very sweet spot in our phases of life, and we should envision ourselves to become bigger and better. And I'll leave this dice by addressing the last line, which is said by Harivansh Rai Bachchan. He said that jab man ka ho to acha, or jab man ka na ho to aur acha. So whenever you feel disappointed, feel that it's happening for a good reason, for a better reason, because if one door shuts, there will be multiple other doors of opportunities that will open up for you. So always keep that open mind and a heart. Always be a curious learner and keep exploring. Don't box yourself into anything. And I wish you all the very best, whoever is the presenter today for the business plan competition. I hope you get the money and actually start a business out of there. Get it from the presentation to actually a real plan, and take it ahead. And I'm sure we will see lots and lots of good startups coming out of this place. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. That was extremely motivational and inspiring. Sometimes, as a young generation, it is hard for us to connect with leaders that come from a senior generation. But ma'am, being a young entrepreneur herself, we believe that it was extremely easy and exciting for us to relate to her, and especially her story. We are grateful to Radhika ma'am for taking our time and visiting our campus for our summit. Once again, we would like to thank her for her inspiring words. Ma'am, we shared your profile to the students and we've collected a different set of questions. And due to the time constraint, we'll be picking out a few questions out of the lot for you to answer.
This was one question asked by a student. As a LinkedIn, as a LinkedIn top voice, you have considerable following on the platform. Can you share your thoughts on the role of social media in shaping the business landscape and how young entrepreneurs can leverage it to build their brand?
Yeah, I think the power of social media is enough said and done, but now it's the time to implement it. So I won't talk about the importance of it because we all know about it. But I would say that just keep writing, and I would love to see your first post today itself, where you maybe talk about the learnings you got from this session. And please tag me whenever you can. I will reshare it and I will make sure that I support you guys in every way I can. But just start. That's the one word answer to this. And start from today itself. Don't wait for a later time to come, or don't postpone it, because whenever you procrastinate things, it never happens. So whatever has to happen now, today.
Here is the second question. With a sudden rise in the entrepreneurship culture, do you feel industry can get oversaturated, or do you feel will there be always scope for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's a very good question and a thought-provoking one. I think market saturation only happens in public space, not in the private space, because we have so much of private money circulating in the economy that you can get funding from anywhere and everywhere today. And there is so less compliance also for private companies that there will not be any point where there comes a saturation. And saturation can only come when you're just repeating on the same ideas over and over again. There's always a space for disruption and the disruptors in our economy, and whosoever does it, I think they have a place. The world will make a place for you, rather, if you have a great idea. So I would say that rather than jumping into the ecosystem just because it's looking glamorous and everybody's raising money, or it gives you a lot of fame and money, research on your idea and deep dive into it. Speak to lots of people, have mentors around you, both from junior and senior levels, because it's important to have a perspective from both the ends, since they will be your end consumer. And just keep speaking to lots of people. Don't feel that if you feel that an idea should come into a place because you feel there's a gap, I mean, you're totally wrong. You need to have validation of 100 other people who feel the same gap to start up. Otherwise, your idea just remains in your head, and it doesn't come to a level where you're able to scale it up in a way that the whole of India is using a product or a service. So I think the saturation will only come when your mind gets saturated with the ideas. Otherwise, it's an open playground for all.
Thank you, ma'am, for those interesting insights. The third question is, as you have written about a lot of different startups and entrepreneurs, what trends are you currently seeing in the market?
Yeah, so I think the consumer businesses are taking a big, jump, I would say, because the D2C market is becoming very open and bright for all of us. I mean, the new consumers, although there might be 10 different toothpaste products or toothbrush products, but you would still go and look at a new one that has come into the market. That kind of consumers we are having. And with the Gen Z crowd coming in more, they want better products, better choices, and better quality in terms of whatever you consume. So be it in terms of beverages or food, or anything. If you guys see Shark Tank, the most products there were D2C products, which is direct to consumers, which you can see and feel, the tangible ones. So I think that is where the market is growing. And good you asked me this question, because today itself I was talking to my friend who works at Trifecta Capital. It's a venture debt fund, and he was telling me that it's the age of consumer now and consumer businesses. So I think that is going to take a rise. And when it comes to something in the tech sector, I think electronic vehicles and EV as a space is growing, along with logistics, because after the pandemic, lots of demand has suddenly increased about different products in different areas. So having that strong supply chain and reducing the time of delivery is something that everybody is looking at. Of course, Delivery, which is a company which is now already a unicorn, I guess, it's doing great, and they are actually looking for smaller players also into the space to get acquired. So logistics, SaaS businesses, consumer businesses are, I think, the trending ones.
You have also mentioned being inspired by Richard Branson's "Screw It, Let's Do It" ideology. Can you share some of the risks you have taken as an entrepreneur and how they have paid off in the long run?
Yeah, the biggest risk I took was when I left my first job, which I told you in 1 month itself. I didn't have anything yet, I left it. And the second biggest risk was to leave the law firm that I was working with, although it so happened that it ended up investing in my firm. But I had a clearly uncertain path as to where will I go, and the money supply was also, of course, getting shut whenever I refused to any job opportunity or left my job. But I think that is the risk I took for the reward today, which is what I'm gaining now by talking to all of you. So I think risk is something that I've taken throughout my life. I've come from a small town. I know very few of you might have heard of it. It's in Maharashtra, called Pachora. I studied there till 10th, and my family was telling me that there is a new school coming up for 11th and 12th. Why don't you study here only, stay with us? And I'm like, no, I want to get exposed to the city and explore different opportunities that it has to offer. So Bombay is something that I wanted to go to always, but they didn't send me. And at a younger age, you don't have much power to really bargain on the decisions, and that's why I say it's very important to be financially independent, so that you can take whatever risks you want in life. And that's where money becomes important at times. But I studied in Nasik for 2 years, and after that, again, there was a discussion and debate in our house that Nasik is a good place. Now that we are here, why do you want to go to Bombay? And I'm like, no, I would want to go to Bombay, and after that I might also want to go to the US to work or study. So they're like, okay, fine. And again, I took the risk of living alone in Bombay, leaving my family behind. And thankfully, it's been 5 years that I live there now. Graduated from Narsi Munji College, did my BMS, and after that, just working at the law firm, and now I'm on my own. So that's the biggest risk in my life right now, where I really have to make it, or pivot, or do something, because I don't have an MBA or a big job or a particular skill that I'm known for. An entrepreneur does everything, right from jhadu pocha to sales to hiring to getting funds for the company. So I'm doing it all, and let's see if this risk pays off. I think it should.
Yes, ma'am, we truly do hope so too. The last question. You've written about some business ideas that have been being adopted across the globe. Can you share some unique challenges that businesses face when entering into new markets and how they can overcome them?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is to attract the consumers. There's this term in VCs, which is CAC versus LTV. CAC is customer acquisition cost, and LTV is the lifetime value. So it means that how much are you spending on your customer to acquire to them in terms of marketing, and what results are you getting on the other hand in terms of getting the consumer for a longer term? Is that consumer only coming for once because you have catch their attention and going again into the air, or is it coming back again and again to use your product without you having to spend that cost? So I think that is one challenge that every startup faces in the initial phase plus in the late stage, because there's always a pressure to grow, right? If you've taken 100 customers, how can you grow to 10,000 in the next month is the level at which the startups and the VCs function. So I think getting consumers is the biggest challenge, and once you've cracked that nut, I think everything else falls into place. The second biggest challenge is hiring. Getting good talent is also very difficult. I'm sure that companies which come here, they might also face a tough time, getting into the placements and taking good talent from here, because there are so many good people, but there are only 1% of great people. And the thing that defines good to great is what kind of resilience have you had in your life. It's that soft skill that matters, because in corporates also, my partner in the law firm has told me, when he told me to look at this while hiring, he said that technical skill are something which you can teach people, but how will you teach people to have a good heart, and how will you teach them to deal well with your team members? And Elon Musk also says this in one of his speeches, that I made the mistake of hiring the good brains and not look at a good heart. And now when I changed that, when I look at people's heart and hire them, I mean, I'm very much okay that even if they're mediocre or average, but now they are star performers for me. And I think that has worked well in very large organizations plus small startups as well. So I think these two are the key challenges. How do you hire people internally, and how do you get people externally to buy your product or a service? These two things.
Thank you, Ms. Radhika, for enriching us and answering all our questions with great detail and accuracy. We will now call upon the ECell chairperson, Dr. Srividya Raghavan, to present a memento to Ms. Radhika Bajoria.
It's a lovely talk.
Are there any questions from you? I'd just like to thank Srividya ma'am and Vinita ma'am for having me over and giving such great hospitality. Just wanted to thank you guys also for spending your Saturday with me and with others. It's a very important dedication that you all have given your weekend to us. But thank you all for being patient in terms of listening. I hope my speech has helped, and I look forward to seeing your posts, guys. Please don't forget to tag me. I'll be looking out as to how many people have actually taken the action after hearing me. Okay. So, and it's the action that differentiates the good to great from from good to great people, by the way. So looking forward to that. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Once again, thank you a lot. Thank you everyone for being a wonderful audience. And I request Bharat to take over now. Thanks all once again.
Hello. Good afternoon.